Okay, thank you for having me. My name's Sam and I am the Welfare Manager at C4WS Homeless Project. We are a charity that works to support those who have become homeless, secure housing and start the process of rebuilding their lives. Behind me as I speak today are a selection of photos of people that have come through our projects over the years. And I hope that as I talk to you today, this will bring to life the people that we're really trying to help. Now, C4WS began in 2005, but I want to start the story in 2012 because that was the year when I decided that my illustrious career as a serious, factual television producer wasn't turning out quite as I hoped. Credits such as Hell's Kitchen, Ready Steady Drink, and yes, other people's breast milk wasn't quite what I thought I was going to be doing with my life. What I did know was that whilst I was working, the one thing I looked forward to and enjoyed every week was volunteering at my local homeless shelter. So I decided, in typical Sam style, to throw everything in, quit my job and start working in the homeless sector. It was only once I started working at C4WS that I discovered that I might not be in employment for very long. That was because the Mayor of London had pledged to end homelessness by the end of 2012. Something that he described as scandalous. Surprise, surprise, come the 1st of January 2013, I was still in employment. And 6 years later, I and C4WS are busier than we have ever been. And that is something that I think is scandalous. Today, Camden is the borough with the third highest number of rough sleepers in the UK. In 2017, rough sleeping increased by 647%. The average life expectancy of a homeless person in Camden is just 42 years old. At C4WS, we are trying to do our bit to change that. Every winter, we run a night shelter that provides emergency accommodation for those with nowhere else to go. Over the course of 5 months, we welcome up to 100 guests. That is the phrase we use to describe people coming to our service. In less than 5 weeks from today, just a couple of 100 metres over from where we're all gathered tonight, our shelters will be open, and a team of hearty and brilliant volunteers will have set up 18 beds with fresh laundry on a church floor. They will have prepared a hot and healthy meal with 2 courses that always has room for seconds and thirds, and they'll be welcoming our guests in for the night. Some of our guests will be chatting with those volunteers over a cup of coffee, some might be playing cards or table tennis, others will be using the shower facilities. None of them ever thought they'd end up in this situation. It might be the first time all day that they've had somewhere safe they can relax and enjoy, somewhere that is warm and somewhere where people care about them, don't judge them and don't walk past them. The shelter is the bedrock and the heart of what we do. Respite from the cold and the dangers of being outside in the winter months is a vital short-term necessity that saves lives. But we also exist to try and make a long-term difference. And we do this through the work of our welfare team being a very glamorous phrase because it's me and one other person. We work one-to-one with every single guest that comes through the doors. And we do that to help them with the primary goal of getting them out of the shelter and into housing. But we also try and address the issues that led them to become homeless and access our service, and look at potential barriers that might prevent them from maintaining a new home. We also have a wealth of other services that they can access. This is our Jobs Club, where they can get help entering employment, training, volunteering and education, utilising our Wellbeing Tuesday services, where we have yoga, osteopathy and massage, joining our mentoring and befriending programme, or participating in our weekly English classes. Our work starts from the minute someone arrives at the shelter, and it ends when they feel they no longer need it. That might be the day they leave the shelter, it might be years later. That's because we want this to be a one-off moment for those guests. We want the intervention of C4WS to mean that they never have to experience something like this again. That's why we're really proud as a small team for the fact that over the last 4 years, more than 90% of those guests working with the welfare team have secured housing. 69% of those who've used Jobs Club, who are eligible and looking for work, have found employment. I think this is a testament to the individuals, their resilience and their ability and their desire to change things. It's also a testament to the 1,000 plus local volunteers that work across all our projects. We're a small team of 3.5 staff members, and we could not do this without some of the volunteers you're seeing tonight. Now I want to tell you about one guest, just to give you a bit of colour to some of the work we do. David was 19 when he fled civil war in Eritrea. He fled because he'd watched his whole family burned to death in a church. He arrived in the UK with nothing and no one. He had to go through the gruelling process of applying for refugee status, learning a new and strange language, and all the time dealing with the trauma of what he had witnessed. That was 2 years ago when he entered our shelter at that point. In a matter of weeks, he'd moved into housing in King's Cross, he'd found a job with an apprenticeship with carpentry, and at the end of his first year, came first in his class, and he was the only person not born in the UK in his class, which he was really proud of. Today he's continuing that, he recently passed his driving test, and he continues working with his mentor. So what I'm asking tonight is for you to support our winter night shelters and the work of the welfare team to help more people like David. Just £10 will cover the cost of one person coming to the shelter for one night. £439, which I can't divide into 3,000, sorry, is the cost of a welfare package which will take someone from coming to the shelter to leaving with a set of front door keys in their hands. But we also want to appeal for your support across all our projects. Maybe your company could offer employment for someone in our jobs club. Perhaps you've got a spare room in your house and you could use it for hosting through Home from Home. Or maybe you want to join our Pants for C4WS Christmas campaign. The posters are going to be epic. We might not be able to end the scandal of homelessness this winter, but if we can make a difference to people like David, we're doing our bit. Thank you.